The government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Listen up, folks. This is important. Alex Jones here. Now you can get free shipping on the storable, easy-to-fix, delicious food from efoodsdirect.com. From July 4th through July 14th, we have looming evacuations in the Southeast, unemployment insurance running out, and predictions of huge inflation. So we all need to get as much food as we can. Every one of you needs to buy as much storable food as possible. This is the perfect time to do just that with eFoods Direct and take advantage of their free shipping special. When you order from efoodsdirect.com from July 4th through July 14th, every dollar you spend will buy the food, and eFoods Direct will pay for the shipping in the continental United States. This is Alex Jones wishing you and your family true independence this 4th of July with great food and free shipping through July 14th from efoodsdirect.com. You can order on the website efoodsdirect.com or simply call 800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/ship free. The Fall of America and the Western World is an all-new 10-hour documentary and survival guide rolled into one. In this film, you will see the reasons why our government is failing and what you can do to prepare. Featuring Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Joseph Farah, David Icke, Naomi Wolf, G. Edward Griffin, Doug McIntyre, Mark Crispin Miller, Mickey Z, Doug Casey, David McElvaney, and myself, Alex Jones. Protect yourself and get the tools you need to protect your family from these difficult times. The Fall of America and the Western World at www.thefallofamerica.net or click on the banners at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Again, that website's www.thefallofamerica.net or call 800-655-1577. Prepare yourself and the ones you love today. Fallofamerica.net.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
The United States and the world is being collapsed so it can be reorganized under a planetary dictatorship. This is a public policy by the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, and countless others. They call it a planetary police state to carry out eugenics. We're going to be discussing this and how we counter them and how we fight back and why I am coming out and saying that this is a 100% confirmed. They are going ahead with this unless we get the word out like we never have before. And I'll explain that more and solutions to counter this in just a moment. First, I wanted to tell you about mysolarbackup.com. That's the website. You can call and get a free information pack by calling 877-327-0365. It's a wonderful plug-and-play solar-powered system. And our listeners have just loved them. We've been promoting them for almost 3 years now. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly and emits no fumes. You can get a bunch of them run your whole house, or it's great for camping or a work shed. Great system. Find out more at mysolarbackup.com or get a free information package at 877-327-0365. And lastly, continuing with being self-sufficient, or at least partially self-sufficient and independent of the system that feeds off of you being dependent, this is the last day, July 14th, if you get the order in today, online or by calling, to get free shipping, which is a big part of the cost of high-quality storable foods, from efoodsdirect.com. The highest quality, the best prices, and free shipping. You can't beat it. efoodsdirect.com/free ship anywhere inside the continental United States. efoodsdirect.com/ship free or 800-409-5633, 800-409-5633, efoodsdirect.com. The banners are also up on Infowars.com. and PrisonPlanet.com. You will never stand in a bread line if you have your own bread. Now I want to get into solutions in the rest of this segment, and then more coming up later in the hour after Richard Reeves leaves us, but that's also a big part of the solution when he's going to be here talking about what the biggest issue is: being awake. And a big part of that is realizing how much power the individual has. The establishment wouldn't be moving to curtail the internet and openly censor, quote, conspiracy theories. And they give the example at the White House and FCC of denying man-made global warming, or denying the official story of 9/11, or denying the official story of Oklahoma City, or denying WMDs. Or they call it a conspiracy theory that China sells organs when China's on record saying they do. These are the things the State Department and the FCC and the diversity czar at the White House have all said. It's what Cass Sunstein, the regulations czar, has said. Why would they want to start shutting down free speech and curtailing talk radio free speech with the fairness doctrine if we weren't having an effect? And I'm only one person in this fight against the New World Order. The real power of this radio broadcast is you taking action. And if we're able to expose that the private central banks orchestrated the collapse, if we're able to expose they're lying about WMDs with Iran, just like they did 7 years ago with Iraq, if we're able to expose the fact that they're holding us hostage with the open borders and that it's their policy to have them open, their arrogance is what's going to undo them, that Obama admits he wants the crisis to get worse, that they're trying to bankrupt states with unfunded mandates so they can be federalized and thus internationalized. All of this is admitted. And they want you to feel powerless. But, ladies and gentlemen, I know the power of the individual. 15 years ago when I first got on air, I just wanted to fight for the Second Amendment, be one voice of millions. I never had any imagination of even having a radio show. Did an access show for a few months. Local station went to talk. They said, we'd like to give you a Saturday show. It got a lot of listeners and ratings. They gave me a weekday show. Then it got syndicated 13 years ago. That's another example. When I started Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, I had no intention of them being the #1 alternative websites, #1 and #2 in the world, and growing exponentially. But it just shows with how if you just start resisting in a small way, that's how you'll get better. And there's so many of us that we're unstoppable if we take action. Now, again, think about just what I've done. With the films, hundreds and hundreds of millions of free views online. That's what I value, is waking people up. The Obama Deception, Fall of the Republic, Endgame, all of these films, Invisible Empire, Truth Rising, Loose Change Final Cut that I produced, all of that, hundreds and hundreds of millions conservatively. I have more than 8 YouTube channels with more than 150 million views between them, not counting the thousands of other channels and hundreds of millions of views. That's just with YouTube, and we use other tools, talk radio, everything, the news websites. Think of what we've done, and here's just a few examples of why enemy operatives, COINTELPRO, are revealing themselves in the fake patriot movement, that is areas that are fake, in the mainstream media, multiple Bilderberg Group journalists openly attacking me every week in international publications saying I'm a dangerous enemy because I've analyzed their attack profile, I know what they're doing, and I know how to stop them. Now, here's just an example of the power of the individual and how it ties together with you, the listeners. How it ties together with you, the power. The reason this show has power is because I take action, we put out quality information, but that's a small part of the equation. You magnify it 1 billion times. No exaggeration. 1 billion times conservatively, you magnify what I do. And an example of that is I came in here last week and told the crew and then said on air that it was weird. I was listening to a syndicated show out of San Antonio, and they were talking about me in a positive way. And then I flipped the channel to 590 AM, and the Todd and Don show had a caller call in and say they want to censor the internet. The world government's taking over. They want to shut down Alex Jones. And, you know, the local host made a joke about it. But the point is that was just in a few minutes of listening, I was tuning channel to channel. Jaron called me this morning at about 9. He said, you won't believe what just happened to me this morning, because he'd just woken up and he was dazed by it because every piece of media, his cell phone, his computer, his radio, it was all Alex Jones. No matter what he flipped to, not twice in a row, 3 times in a row. And that's an example of you, the callers, just calling in to talk radio and the type of magnification that it is having and the buzz that it is creating. If we take that model and you do that yourself in your own town, your own city, it may just be a buzz on your block. It may be a buzz in your town or your state. Resistance is victory. And I want to go to Jaron Neihart and talk about this. Jaron, briefly tell folks what happened this morning.
Yeah, actually, I woke up about 8 o'clock. I always set my alarm clock to 93.7, a local show here in town, Dudley and Bob. And a caller actually called in asking if they could get you on the show. They were talking about the FCC ruling, the ruling against the FCC. They went on for about 5 minutes saying, yeah, we should have them back in and talking about you. I turned that off, loaded up the Joe Rogan podcast, which is always a staple, started listening to that. At the same time, I got a text message from my sister saying, this is all at 8 o'clock in the morning, Case 101, another local show here in town, was talking about you. As I was reading that, I said to myself, look, I got to go listen to Case 101, see if they're still talking about it. And as I did that, Joe Rogan's on his podcast talking about you, doing an impression actually, but talking about you. It almost short-circuited me for a second. The thing was, he's got people on his podcast, a UFC guy, Eddie Bravo. They all talk about you like just Alex. Hey, Alex does this, and everybody seems to know. It was the same thing on KLBJ when I heard it. I didn't hear the Case 101 part, but they just talk about, Alex comes in, Alex does this, and it's almost like just everybody's aware. I see it when the Drudge Report comes on. I didn't even tell you this the other day. I Google search every morning just New World Order, global governance to see what articles it comes up in. And 2 days ago, it sent me to a link, a TMZ link about Jesse James. It had no relevance to anything, and I actually Controlled F searched it to see where New World Order popped up, and somebody had posted an InfoWars story in the comments section by JT Coyote a couple of days ago. So it's just everywhere you turn, the message is getting out. It's just, just the viral nature of it. It's just kind of fascinating. But, yeah, and within about a minute of itself, 3 times today, on 3 separate radio shows, they were talking about you.
And this was one after the other.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're just like, because, I'm in the car, and I go to one channel, they're talking about me, and